You ever sit in the dark with a mystery so deep it keeps you up at night? A question you can't answer. A case that refuses to die. We have all seen the headlines. Missing girl found in rooftop water tank. Faceless woman on a beach. A treasure that lured 5 people to their deaths. But what happens when the story does not end there? Today, we are returning to the chilling world of BuzzFeed Unsolved. But this time, something is different. This time, we have answers. Los Angeles. January 2013. A 21-year-old student named Elisa Lam steps off a Greyhound bus and into the unknown. She is young, curious, full of life. Just another traveler chasing sunshine and self-discovery. But just a month later, her body is found in a water tank on the roof of the infamous Cecil Hotel. Naked. Alone. Floating face up. And for years, the world asked, what really happened to Elisa Lam? What catapulted this case into internet infamy was not just the tragedy, it was the elevator footage. You have seen it, Elisa stepping in, pressing every button, peeking out nervously, making bizarre hand gestures as if talking to someone we could not see. The footage was uploaded by LAPD in a desperate attempt to gather clues. What they triggered instead was a digital wildfire. Reddit threads exploded. YouTubers dissected every frame. She is playing the elevator game, they said, a supposed urban legend that can transport players to another dimension. Others claim she was being chased by ghosts. Or worse, something demonic. And then, of course, there was the hotel itself. The Cecil has a history steeped in death. Multiple suicides, murders, even serial killers. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, stayed here. So did Jack Unterweger, who killed prostitutes during his stay. To many, it was not just a hotel, it was cursed. So when Elisa vanished, and the video went viral, the world was not just solving a case, they were chasing a horror movie. 2 weeks after Elisa went missing, hotel guests began complaining. The water tastes strange. It is black. And foul-smelling. That is when a maintenance worker climbed to the rooftop and opened one of the 4 1,000-gallon water tanks. Inside, Elisa's body, face up, naked, lifeless. For a long time, people refused to accept the truth. But the autopsy told a quieter, sadder story. Elisa Lam had bipolar disorder. She was on medication, but not consistently. Her toxicology report showed a lack of antipsychotics in her system. It was not ghosts, or demons, or dark rituals. It was mental illness, raw, misunderstood, and deadly when left unmanaged. She had been moved to a private room due to erratic behavior. She left odd notes. She was removed from a Conan O'Brien taping for being disruptive. And she stopped calling her parents on the day she was scheduled to leave. As for how she reached the rooftop, investigators found the fire escape was accessible. Cadaver dogs even tracked her scent to a window. And that heavy tank lid? It was open when the maintenance worker found her. The Elisa Lam case became a mirror, not just for the darkness in a haunted hotel, but for the ways society treats mental health as a mystery instead of a medical reality. We want ghosts because they are easier to explain than bipolar disorder. We invent monsters because it is more comforting than acknowledging that a bright, thoughtful young woman could fall through the cracks of a system that does not protect the vulnerable. And that is the real horror story. July 1974, Provincetown, Massachusetts. A young girl walking her dog stumbles onto a body in the sand dunes, what is left of one. Hands severed, teeth removed, skull crushed, the face unrecognizable. For decades, she was known only as the Lady of the Dunes. With no hands, no dental records, and no ID, investigators had nothing. They tried clay reconstructions, age regressions, even paranormal help. The case went cold, but the question remained, who was she? And more chillingly, who wanted her to disappear so completely? In 2022, forensic genealogy cracked the code. Her name was Ruth Marie Terry. She had married a man named Guy Rockwell Mauldin in 1974, just before her body turned up on the beach. Guess who was driving her car when he came back from the honeymoon? Mauldin. Guess what he told her family? We had a fight. I never heard from her again. And guess what the FBI found in his septic tank years earlier? Human remains, unidentifiable. Mauldin had a dark past. He was connected to multiple disappearances, including his second wife and her daughter. No charges stuck. He moved to California, retired peacefully, died in 2002. For almost 2 decades, he escaped justice quietly. Then, in 2023, he was officially named Ruth Marie Terry's killer. This case is not just about murder. It is about erasure. When you remove someone's teeth, cut off their hands, and dump them, nameless, it is a symbolic act. You are trying to make sure they are never found. But DNA had other plans. Forensic genealogy is rewriting cold case history. It is the reason thousands of Jane Does are finally coming home, even if it is too late for justice. What if I told you that a retired art dealer hid $2 million worth of gold in the mountains and dared the world to find it with nothing but a poem? That is not fiction. That is the Forrest Fenn treasure. And it became one of the deadliest real-life treasure hunts in American history. In 2010, Forrest Fenn, a wealthy collector and former fighter pilot, published a memoir titled The Thrill of the Chase. And inside was a 24-line poem he claimed would lead anyone clever enough to a hidden chest buried somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. The promise: gold nuggets, rare coins, ancient jewelry. The catch: no map, no coordinates, just riddles. Tens of thousands took up the challenge. Families, retirees, full-time adventurers. But for some, the dream turned fatal. Randy Bilyeu vanished in 2016. His remains were found 6 months later near the Rio Grande. Jeff Murphy died in Yellowstone after falling 500 feet while searching. Paris Wallace, a pastor, drowned in the river in 2017. Eric Ashby, swept away by currents in the Arkansas River. Michael Wayne Stolpa, found dead in 2020. His partner barely survived. New Mexico authorities begged Forrest Fenn to end the hunt. They said it was reckless, dangerous, even irresponsible. But Fenn insisted, "It is out there. People just need to be smart, use logic, not guts." And in a strange way, he was right. Because someone did crack the code. On June 6, 2020, Fenn posted a message on his blog. "It is found." The identity of the winner remained secret for weeks. Then came the twist. It was Jack Stoof, a former writer for BuzzFeed Unsolved. Yes, seriously. Jack used deep research and GPS modeling to narrow the search to Wyoming. He found the chest hidden under pine needles in a lush forest. And he did it alone but paid a price. "I wish I could stay anonymous," Jack said, but lawsuits made that impossible. Another treasure hunter named Daniel Barron claimed Fenn had moved the treasure to stop him from winning. He filed a $10 million lawsuit. Others joined in, but the courts sided with Jack. The gold was real. The poem was legit. The journey was over. This was not just a hunt for treasure. It was a mirror into human obsession. People abandoned jobs, spent life savings, risked everything for a chest they might never find. Why? Because Fenn offered something more powerful than money: purpose. For some, that purpose turned fatal. For others, like Jack, it became legend. And for Fenn, he passed away shortly after the chest was found, knowing his riddle had finally been solved. August 2003. Erie, Pennsylvania. A pizza delivery man walks into a bank wearing a metal collar locked around his neck. He hands over a note. It reads, "You have 15 minutes. Give me $250,000. Or the bomb explodes." This was no joke. And this was not a movie. This was the most twisted bank heist in FBI history. Brian Wells was a quiet man, 46 years old, delivered pizzas, known in the community, no criminal record. But on that day, he entered PNC Bank with a cane that turned out to be a gun and a ticking bomb strapped around his neck. After handing the teller a note, he walked out with just over $8,000. 15 minutes later, police had him in custody. Brian sat on the pavement in handcuffs. "This is not me," he pleaded. "I was forced." He said strangers had locked the bomb on him, gave him instructions, threatened his life. Police found a set of elaborate notes, a scavenger hunt of sorts. If Brian completed each task, he would get keys to remove the device. But the bomb detonated before the bomb squad arrived. It tore a fist-sized hole through his chest. He died instantly on live TV. At first, the case was chaos. Theories flew. Was it a suicide mission? An inside job? A terror plot? Then came the break. A man named William Rothstein called 911 to report a dead body. In his freezer, he said it belonged to James Roden, the ex-boyfriend of a woman named Marjorie Deal Armstrong. Marjorie was unstable, highly intelligent, and had a history of violence. Turns out, she would kill James and needed help hiding the body, but she was not done. As FBI agents dug deeper, they found that Marjorie, Rothstein, and a man named Kenneth Barnes had plotted the entire collar bomb robbery to raise money so Marjorie could hire Barnes to kill her own father, Brian Wells. He was just the delivery boy. He may have known part of the plan, but not that the bomb was real. In fact, his friend Jessica Hoopsick later admitted she gave Brian's name to the group. In exchange for drugs, Marjorie died in prison in 2017. Barnes confessed and received a long sentence. Rothstein died of cancer before trial. The FBI finally closed the case, calling it one of the most bizarre and complicated crimes in the history of law enforcement. We crave stories where good and evil are clear-cut. But the collar bomb case was a mess full of blurred lines. Brian Wells was not a hero. He was not fully a victim. He was somewhere in between a pawn in a game he could not control. It showed us something dark. Some people will turn human beings into chess pieces, if the payout is right. Las Vegas, September 7th, 1996. It is fight night. Mike Tyson just knocked out Bruce Seldon in the first round. The crowd's electric. And in the middle of it all, Tupac Shakur, 25 years old, a superstar, a revolutionary, a marked man. That night, he would be shot 4 times and die 6 days later. And for decades, no one was ever officially charged. Until 2023. After the Tyson fight, Tupac and his crew, including Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight, encountered a Crips gang member named Orlando Anderson in the MGM Grand Lobby. Anderson had allegedly tried to steal a Death Row necklace weeks earlier. Tupac walked up to him and asked, "You, from the South?" Then punched him in the face. Security cameras captured it. Anderson got jumped. Embarrassed. And hours later, he would get his revenge. Later that night, as Tupac sat in a black BMW with Suge Knight, a white Cadillac pulled up next to them. Inside, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, front passenger. Orlando Anderson, back seat. 2 other gang members, including the driver. Anderson leaned over, pulled a Glock 40 and fired. Tupac was hit 4 times. 2 in the chest, 1 in the arm, 1 in the thigh. He died on September 13th. For years, no one talked. No arrests. No justice. But behind the scenes, the LAPD had a secret weapon, Detective Greg Kading. In 2009, Kading flipped Keefe D., the uncle of the shooter, using drug charges as leverage. Davis confessed. He gave names. Described the weapon. Even admitted to receiving a $1 million bounty offer from Sean Diddy Combs to kill Tupac and Suge Knight. Let that sink in. We will wipe them out quick, Davis told Kading. Tupac's murder was not just gang violence. It was business. It was pride. It was fear. Diddy has denied everything. No charges have been filed against him. But Davis's account laid bare how fragile the line is between rap empires and street warfare. In 2023, nearly 27 years later, Keefe D. was finally arrested, charged with Tupac's murder as the mastermind behind the hit. It does not bring Tupac back, but it finally brings the truth forward. March 9th, 1997. Just 6 months after Tupac's death, another icon is gunned down in Los Angeles. Christopher Wallace, known to the world as Notorious B.I.G. or Biggie Smalls, is shot and killed while sitting in an SUV. He is 24 years old, and the world is left with one chilling question. Was this revenge? Biggie and Tupac were not just rivals. They were symbols of a war between East Coast and West Coast rap. Suge Knight believed Biggie was involved in Tupac's death. And just like that, what started as lyrical beef turned into real bloodshed. Biggie's mother, Valletta Wallace, filed a $400 million lawsuit against the LAPD, claiming corrupt officers helped cover up her son's murder. The lawsuit was dismissed. Evidence went missing. Witnesses changed stories. And the trail went cold. That is, until Detective Kading stepped back in. Kading's team discovered that Suge Knight had allegedly hired a Bloods gang member named Wardell Poochie Faust to kill Biggie, the go-between. A woman named Tammy Hawkins, mother of Suraj Knight's child. Poochie, known for erratic behavior, fit the profile. He was later killed in 2003 in what many believe was a gang hit to silence him. But with no confession, no physical evidence, and Poochie dead, the case could not go to trial. Sometimes, justice is quiet. We may never get an official answer for Biggie's murder. But the evidence, the motive, the chain of retaliation, it is all there. The truth exists. It is just buried under corruption, fear, and time. Tupac and Biggie were not just artists. They were prophets. And their deaths, a reminder of how fame, power, and violence can entangle until nobody wins. So what do we take from all this? That some mysteries do get solved, but not always cleanly. That justice moves slowly and sometimes arrives too late. That obsession can kill, whether it is for treasure, fame, or revenge. But maybe the most important lesson is this: the truth does not set everyone free. Sometimes it just confirms what we feared all along. If this video gave you chills or maybe some peace, let me know in the comments. And if you have got a theory, story, or mystery you want us to cover next, you know what to do. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, even the darkest cases can find the light